I don't even play video games.
I made this picture because I finally was deciding on my Pokemon group and shit, and then you know what? There it is. And it's not finished or anything, but
there it is. We have the games. I'm currently trying to.
I would like to play a Pokemon maybe one day, so I can like people talk about it and I'm like I don't understand.
I mean, there's emulators.
It's like Tamagotchi, but with I don't know murder or something.
No,
You beat each
and
other
you
up.
don't actually kill them. You just cause them
Well,
to
then what's the
faint.
point?
You basically knock them out. Mama said knock you out. I'm gonna knock you out. And you fight your Pokemons, and they get stronger because you fight and you win, and then you get really high level Pokemon, and then you're like, my Pokemon is the best, and that's it.
By the way, we have Twitch chat, and in this case, we have Sky in the Twitch chat who is responding to your conversation.
What did they say? I'm getting on there now to see, but like, there's a murder. There's no digital pet aspect, at least not in most of them. It's just an RPG with 1,000 party members.
Pokemon reminds me of like, I mean, it reminds me of video games, but it also reminds me of like, I'm in a chat with a whole bunch of people who really like Fire Emblem, and all they've talked about is Fire Emblem, and Stanning, and
I'm not straight, so I don't know what Fire Emblem is.
And simping. I don't know what any of these words mean.
Mama said knock you out.
I don't do any of those things.
No, he isn't. No, he is not. I will fight you on this.
Wait, who are they asking in terms of Standing Dave, King, and Carcat?
I don't know what those mean. All I do is play Minecraft. Please stop.
It's the Twitch chat is where.
Yeah.
Why would you do this?
I need to get the epilogues up on my screen. Give me a moment.
Yeah, we're waiting for people here to get ready. And I'm trying to advertise, but I'm not sure where else to advertise.
I'm pretty sure that if we just start, like, obviously, I'm sure that Ranny wouldn't mind if we just do the prologues and stuff since we've already read them.
Y'all read it,
yeah, that was the idea, to do at least the prologues and stuff without her.
So, I mean, we've got everybody, I believe.
That is true. Let's make sure I've advertised everywhere. You know, we've got 5 people. That's more than usual. I think we're good to go. I think we are. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. One of those people is me too. It doesn't matter.
I'm one of them.
Okay. Let me see if there's. First, I just want to see if there's anything I can. Okay. All right. We're good. Prologue. Huh?
Sorry, they freaking changed on Discord. If you look, they changed the little icon next to people when they're streaming to a little plus sign.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Oh, it shows as a play symbol to me.
Yeah, it says the same for me.
Play sign. Yeah, play.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, play. Go.
Alright, that's cool. Been it for me, but.
Oh, well, I'm blind.
That's fine. We all are in one way or another.
Alright.
Okay.
Here we go. Prologue 1. It starts with a crack. Everything else rises up from that like a steam. A trembling thread that cuts through space in jagged lines, splintering the void into razor-sharp shards of putrefying leptons and quarks popping apart like raw eggs in a microwave. It's coming undone at a subatomic level, from the bottom up, from the inside out. From the top down, it looks like the eye of a storm, a black hole so supermassive that it spans the width of eternity. It turns infinity into something as thin and fragile as cellophane, shreds it of its dimensions, a piece of paper pinched together at each end, a hole poked through it. At the center of that hole, the edges can be heard fraying. Pandemonium as continuity buckles in the middle, and the two ends come smashing together. Around the hole, ghosts scream. They claw at the dying borders of their dreams, fingernail chipping desperation. They whip together like the wind, trailing the mutilated streaks of their hypothetical futures with them. It's a multifractional neon cyclone of primordial conclusion, a churning blender of hyperfinal, catastrophically terminal, overwhelmingly permanent double death. The screaming distorts and plunges low as it gets closer to the cavity. At the center, that distortion turns into an eerie music. That's where cacophony ends. The shattering, the screaming, the squelching, This is not the song I'm playing during this shit.
What song are you playing?
It was just something whimsical, and that is not what's going on here.
Stop playing musical music. This is the Epilogues.
Halo music.
Fuck, when we get to the last page, we gotta play the great Warthog run.
Oh my god.
Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da.
Oh, I don't know anything about Halo, but I know that song.
Yeah. Let's see. That's where the cacophony ends. The shattering, the screaming, the squelching. The sounds of elemental particles being torn apart like string cheese shoved through a meat grinder, then dumped down a strangely melodious garbage disposal. It all returns to the same tonic, dominant, matching pitch and tone, ironing out the rebellious flats and sharps until the discordance becomes exquisite. A subharmonic symphony that can only be heard in the bones. At the dead center of the event, it is extremely quiet. A silence made of all the suffering that limitless sempiternity can hold, bleeding together until the prism turns to obsidian. It's too vast to comprehend, too black to behold without closing your eyes, retreating to the back of your own eyelids to seek the comfort of a familiar darkness. It is to reject an absolute tenebrosity so perfectly alien it threatens to rip the humanity right through your eye sockets. This is the end of everything. This is the end of Paradox Space. You wake up. Your name is John Egbert, and you have just had a terrible, deeply pretentious nightmare. You snap out of bed, soaked in sweat, your heart hammering like a fire alarm. It is just as you feared. You've been dreaming in anime again. You have no idea what it could mean. Look outside just to make sure, absolutely sure, the world is not ending. The sun is coming in through your window in bars of soft yellow. The only sound you can hear for miles is the wind skimming the hollows of your neighbor's pipe homes. The normal day in the Salamander Village, which you refer to as Salamander Village because the damned salamanders never bothered to give this village a name, you guess. Absolutely nothing of note has ever happened here in the entire history of your planet, which you would know because you created it. Beside your pillow, your phone is vibrating. Rose is calling. The screen of your phone reads 9:30 a.m., April 13th. And also the number 46, which is how many text messages your friend left you while you were sleeping. A bit excessive, even for her. Answer the phone. Who wants to do Rose?
I can do that. Since when are you known to operate your telephone?
You want Egbert, Hadron?
Okay. Give me a moment. Let me move my microphone here.
Okay, you can move your microphone.
Okay, I removed my microphone.
Awesome.
Okay. Since, I don't know, has it really been that long since I called?
I can't remember the last time.
Neither can I. Anyways, what's up?
First of all, happy birthday.
Oh, Yeah, thanks. I forgot.
Am I correct in presuming this April 13th will be as uneventful as the last?
Yeah, I don't want to do anything this year. I hope that's okay.
Of course it's okay. It's your birthday after all.
Rose?
Yes?
You wander to the window and watch the salamanders go about their day. All over the neighborhood, little dad salamanders are putting on their little rumpled hats, picking up their little suitcases, and kissing their little families goodbye for the day. You've always been confused about what exactly they contribute to the global economy, but it's pretty cute how much they love playing at being suburban businessmen. Silence over the phone is growing awkward. You've stalled long enough. You decide to just come out and say it.
I've been dreaming in anime again lately. I have no idea what it could mean.
I see.
It's horrible every time. And I don't mean because anime is bad or anything, it's not that. Whenever I have these dreams, everything's breaking apart. Billions of people are screaming and dying. I mean, dying permanently. Not the kind of stuff we've been doing a lot over these years.
A couple yards over, the salamander blows an astounding spit bubble. Truly one for the books. Your eyes trace its meandering journey into the sky as you gather your thoughts.
What do you think it all means?
What do I think what means?
What do you think it means that I've been dreaming in anime?
I don't have the slightest idea what it means that you've been dreaming in anime, John. To be honest,
You wait for Rose to finish her thought. She doesn't, which is troubling because you have never known Rose to leave a thought unfinished in over 10 years of acquaintance. You suppose it's possible it may have happened one of the times she died. You wouldn't bet on it, though.
Rose, are you okay?
Not exactly.
What's wrong?
I think my condition's been getting worse lately.
Conditions?
It's why my message probably sounded urgent.
You left 46 messages.
Yes, they were all urgent.
Huh.
I don't think I can wait much longer before telling you. I held out for as long as I could. I figured your birthday was as good a time as any to let you know.
Let me know what?
It's crept up on me these last couple of years. Gradually enough to ignore as it was happening, but I can't anymore. Lately, the visions have been overwhelming.
Visions?
John, I have terrible headaches these days. Talking on the phone doesn't help at all. Would you mind flying to my apartment so we can continue this in person?
Oh, yeah. You mean, now?
Yes, now is the time. I've put it off for long enough.
You move the phone away from your ear and assume an expression you haven't practiced in years. It is the look of a man who actually has something to do. Holding the phone directly in front of your face, you speak into the receiver.
Okay. I'm on my way. Bye, Rose.
As you hang up the phone, a familiar feeling settles over you. A feeling of standing? Standing and being alone. In your bedroom. As a young man. On your birthday. You swear you felt this feeling before. Almost like a young man stands alone in his bedroom. It just so happens that today, 13th of April, is this young man's birthday. So it was 23 years ago when he was given life, and 10 years ago when he was given a name. It feels like it is only today that he will begin to understand what all that means. That young man is you, John Egbert. What will you do?
Me? Wow. Okay.
Never understood why a literal god would want to live in an apartment, but here we are.
Well, I mean, where else would they live?
I just read the chat.
I know, where else would they live?
I'm not sure. I mean, I
It's
feel
just
like it would be. The thing is that the alternative is exploiting their power to purchase overly large buildings. And that's
That
like.
sounds very capitalist of them.
And also pretentious as shit.
Oh, yeah.
And also.
I think it's the same house, though.
It is.
Oh yeah, actually it would be, huh? For
Yeah.
Eggbird at least.
So it's still an apartment.
I guess.
I think it's just a house.
It's just a house, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know why they would call it an apartment. Do they call it an apartment?
No, it's Rose's apartment.
Oh. Yeah. So she wait, Rose lives in an probably with
Rose?
Kanaya?
Yeah.
Yeah. John?
That would be why. So she doesn't live in the same.
Well, if you're
Yeah,
yelling.
they don't live in the same neighborhood.
Okay. Yeah.
When you arrive at Rose's apartment, you find her asleep on the couch. You slide the
Yeah,
balcony
she just
door
live on the
open
moon,
quickly.
actually.
Rose?
Her eyes flutter open. She looks like a ghost, and not the kind of ghost that looks and acts exactly like an alive person.
How long have I been sleeping?
I don't know. I just got here. Are you okay?
I'll be fine.
That looks like a lot of pills you're taking there.
Yeah, it's not what you're thinking, though.
What am I thinking?
These are controlled substances that have been prescribed by a legitimate doctor to ease the symptoms of my condition. I am using them only as instructed.
Okay.
So there's nothing to worry about.
But you said you have a condition. Isn't that bad?
You watch her rise in stages. Her arm is trembling where she's bracing it on the couch.
Oh, yeah. The condition itself is not ideal, obviously. And perhaps it does constitute something to worry about in the context of a different conversation. All I'm trying to say is I'm not backsliding, if that's what you're wondering.
You spend several pregnant moments saying nothing at all in response to this. You examine Rose's supine, languid form on the couch, optimistic that she will continue speaking any moment now.
I struggled with substance abuse for a while, years ago. Remember?
Rose, Jesus. I wasn't going to accuse you of being a drug addict. I didn't fly over here to give you an intervention. It sounded like you had some important stuff to tell me, and the fact that you seem to be sick is more than a little alarming.
I wouldn't say I'm sick, just having spectacularly debilitating headaches as a result of my visions becoming more frequent.
Oh, yeah. What are these visions you're having?
I am a seer of light, John.
I know. So you mean like your standard psychic visions about the future and stuff? What's going to happen? Should we be worried?
It doesn't technically pertain to the future. Well, not our future. My abilities have broadened considerably beyond their previous horizon. They shed light on many unseen events, past, present, future, and realities and frames of reference that have no intersection with ours at all. It seems to be an unfortunate side effect of God-tier abilities. They can advance at a rate beyond one's physical ability to keep up with. Fortunately, it doesn't seem to be happening to anyone other than me.
Yeah. Can't say I've noticed anything like that, or improvement in my powers, for that matter.
It's not about gaining additional power so much as the gradual dissolving of the boundaries between your own awareness and that of your many doomed selves who perished in other timelines. It's a slow and apparently rather uncomfortable accretion of knowledge. Perhaps I'm the only one to notice any change since my aspect explicitly relates to knowledge.
I guess that all makes sense. So what are these visions showing you?
Many things. They're quite disjointed and sometimes hard to rearrange into coherence. But in totality, I've pieced together a greater understanding of our present situation and all the events that led us here.
You watch Rose stagger to her feet and cross the apartment. Oh shit, I should move my mic. Just realized that I had it in a better place last time. There we go. That's better, right?
You sound the
All
same.
right. Oh, cool. Anyway, you watch Rose stagger to her feet across the apartment. At the kitchenette, she knocks back another pill with a practiced motion. No water. Her vacant stare drills into the countertop as she quietly waits for the medication to take effect.
And
And what?
what is it about your situation that you've wanted to tell me? Is it bad?
Good and bad are words that don't mean anything beyond a certain threshold of mortal consideration. There's a different scale I've come to understand. Another dichoton... oh, fuck that.
Dichotomy.
Dichotomy. I keep wanting to say dick. Dichotomy that's less emotional, I guess. Consider instead of the word good using the word essential, and what exists at the opposite polarity from essential is something that is best not to contemplate.
What are you talking about? This sounds messed up.
Yes, that sounds like a reaction you would definitely have to the things I'm telling you. I really should cut it out and just start from the beginning.
You follow Rose to the balcony. She raises a hand and points directly into the clear blue sky. She points with purpose as if to say, right there, precisely, is where the green sun would be if it still existed.
The green sun is gone.
What?
It has been destroyed, at least from the current frame of reference it has. It still existed and therefore, in a way that's hard to explain, currently exists over a nearly infinite span of time. But this universe, our universe, is not one of them.
You saw this in a vision?
No, Jade told me.
She did. How does she know?
She can't draw from its power anymore. She no longer has the ability of a first guardian. It has been this way for several years. I suspect she had kept this fact on the down low, however.
That's surprising, I guess? Or maybe not. I don't know. It's not like she tells me a whole lot these days.
It's also not like she's had any particular need to unleash the full fury of the green sun. Not while she's been gallivanting around with Dave and Carcat under whatever perplexing social arrangement they have settled on. Anyway, her account of the sun's destruction syncs up with the data supplied by my visions. I have no doubt it's gone.
How did that happen?
It doesn't matter much, for our purposes. There was a cataclysmic event, a suicide strike by a very powerful being, much like the one Dave and I attempted once upon a time. But it turned out the explosive force we released was only a catalyst, a casual gesture. What was needed to destroy the sun was a consumptive assault.
Consumptive?
The entire sun was swallowed by a supermassive black hole. I digress, though.
You press your eyes shut just for a moment. Behind them, you see a black hole so supermassive that it spans the width of eternity. You quickly open your eyes again and pretend to forget what you just saw.
There's really no route through this expository garden path that will adequately cushion you from the bottom line, John. You will need to travel back into canon and defeat Lord English.
You shrug and try to look casual. You pull off the most casual shrug that a guy has ever shrugged when being presented with the inevitability of his own fate. If Rose were looking at you right now, she would be totally convinced that you are approaching this topic with a level of nonchalance that is entirely plausible and genuine. You're sure of it.
Yeah, I had a feeling that was going to come up again someday.
I'm sure we all did. That is, even those of us without visions.
I was doing my best not to think about it. I guess we can't put it off any longer then.
Now is the time. We are rapidly approaching a point of no return. If the decision isn't made soon, it will be too late. The issue will no longer matter.
When exactly is the point of no return?
Today,
Wow. Okay then. First, one question. Why?
why what?
Why do I need to go back and beat him? I mean, sorry if this is a stupid question. I guess he's a huge, awful monster, and that's just what you're supposed to do with huge, awful monsters. Take them down for their crimes and such. But why does he actually need to be defeated at all? To be honest, it's been years since we've been bothered thinking about any of this. And everything seems...
Take a look around and survey the current status of all life on Earth, which is totally possible to do from a vantage point of a single apartment balcony.
fine?
Of course everything is fine here. We're outside of canon now.
Yeah, I know. What does any of that mean, though? Are you saying that this isn't actually happening?
Of course it's happening. Just because certain events take place outside of canon, it doesn't mean those events are non-canon.
Oh,
In other words, there is an important distinction between events which can be considered to occur inside canon, outside of canon, and those which are not canon at all. The day we went through that door and claimed our reward, we passed a threshold between continuum marked by different degrees of relevance, truth, and essentiality. Those are the three pillars of canon.
what?
Rose shoots you an irritated look. You know what that look means. It's reserved for the sort of bozo that just said what once too often.
Any event said to take place inside canon will have non-zero values of relevance and essentiality, while maintaining an absolute foundation in truth by definition. Whereas events outside canon have diminished values of relevance and essentiality, or, for the most part, can be considered neither relevant nor essential at all. But such events can't be said to be untrue either. Instead, it's better to regard their truth value as highly conditional. Are you still following?
Say, oh yeah, totally.
Oh, yeah, totally.
So to be clear, everything that's taken place here on Earthsea since we exited canon can be considered completely irrelevant and, for the most part, absolutely inessential. Yet none of it can be called untrue. At least, up until precisely today.
Okay. Then what does non-canon mean?
Events that are formally non-canon have no truth whatsoever, by definition. They may have relevance and essentiality values that are non-zero or even quite high, but only as projections along imaginary axis resulting from highly subjective frames of reference. But due to those events having no truth and thus carrying no real weight, the other properties are basically rendered meaningless.
You can feel your eyes go wide as the gears in your head slow to a stop. The implications of what Rose is saying are as vast as they are completely incomprehensible. Your mind has just been blown.
John, are you okay? Your pupils have gone quite wide, thereby facilitating the appearance that your mind has just been blown.
Sorry, I'm just trying to wrap my head around all this.
You of all people really should have a good intuitive grasp over these concepts already. You're the one with the retcon powers, after all.
I know. Like, I mostly get it, I think. I just wouldn't have thought to put all of this in such a jargony way.
Sorry, that's kind of what I do.
It's fine. I'm just a bit rusty is all. It feels like it's been so long since I did, or even thought about, anything that mattered at all.
Yes, the longer we live outside of canon, the more tenuous our relationship with canon becomes. Hence the urgency.
Then what's going to happen if we keep dragging our feet?
I mentioned that events outside canon have a truth value that tends to be conditional, remember? Well, I did, but let me put it another way. As long as we live outside canon, everything that happens will technically be real, but only conditionally. There are certain crucial events inside canon which must happen in order to continue to prop up the legitimacy of events here on Earthsea. And you specifically, John, have a responsibility to make sure those events take place.
And I take it that means going back and killing Lord English?
Yes, his defeat is the keystone to this entire continuity, much like his life in some sick way governed the overall design of the bridge which that keystone was holding up. But without it, all of this falls apart. Everything we've been through, in a way that's impossible for a single mind to fully comprehend, becomes retroactively discredited.
So, reality will be destroyed or something? Hasn't that already sort of happened? I mean, when all the black space started cracking?
No, this consequence isn't physical, or even a disruption of the timeline. It's more of a conceptual unraveling. If you miss the chance to authenticate canon events, something will take place that's a bit different to describe. But I've encountered a term for it. It's called dissipation. Like a notional fading, as if something somewhere is undergoing a process of forgetting. And we are what is being forgotten. All ideas, people and their full potentialities, possible outcomes, and their specific unfolding. All these things live inside conscious frameworks. The further removed we get from authentication of canon events, the less relevant they become, and they slowly fade from the conscious framework which kept them stable.
Make a theatrically startled expression.
Okay, I guess we don't want that to happen. Or unhappen. Whatever. So I just retcon poof back to English and start, like, brawling with the dude?
Don't be ridiculous. You wouldn't last a second. You'll need a team. Also, you don't want to just dive headlong into a battle with his hulking adult form. That would be tactically foolish, and furthermore, would skip over some very important steps needed to authenticate canon.
Like what?
I mentioned that English's defeat was the keystone to the continuity, but this is an oversimplification.
Yikes. Well, we sure wouldn't want to simplify anything, right?
John, please don't be a bitch. I'm unwell, remember?
Sorry.
The true keystone, which is a necessary component of his defeat, is the juju. The house-shaped object you stuck your hand in to gain your retcon powers.
Oh yeah.
While empty, it resembles a gap like a hole in canon, whose only purpose is to be filled. Hello!
Hi.
Oh.
We are reading the Prologues.
We're still in the prologues. Yeah, we're not even out of the gate yet.
Jesus Christ, you guys read slow.
I read very quickly.
Wait, it
Well,
took
we
us a little bit
started
to
it.
start, but we started at 6:30,
Yeah.
and what we're gonna do is this is gonna become part 0 on the stream listing.
Okay.
And then I'm just gonna hit stop record and start record, and then we're gonna do meet after that. We're gonna try and make this a big stream tonight and do up to M10.
Oh, big boy hours. Okay.
Woo!
Maybe even further. We'll have to see how much time we have.
That's pretty long. Alright.
Long
Yeah.
boy.
So long.
Oh shit! If we ended on M15, that'd be fucking great. Because actually, M15 is one of my favorite chapters.
I don't think we're gonna get that far, but we'll try.
Okay.
No.
We will see.
All right. Where were we?
A hole in canon. When after John said, "Oh yeah," and I read.
Oh
the first
yeah,
line,
Mr. Krabs.
In serving that purpose, it grants one with a radical canon-altering power that would be needed to fill it. Once filled, it becomes solid, no longer a gap, but a serviceable load-bearing wedge in our continuity, like a keystone. And once delivered to English and directed his way, it empties itself again, releasing its narrative-bridging payload. It functions as a weapon and in some manner will bring about his demise. And Hadron just said he'd be right back.
In some manner?
It's a complicated artifact. as old and unfathomable as anything else in paradox space, like the green sun or English himself. Don't worry about it for now. The important thing is that it's in the due course of your travels, you end up loading and unloading this weapon.
How am I going to do that?
Once you set things in motion, it should just happen
Ba-ba-ba.
naturally through the narrative and momentum of your journey. I'm really just warning you about it rather than instructing you.
Okay. Thanks?
You're welcome.
Rose looks at her phone. You recognize Kanaya's distinct typing style in the window. Rose's thumbs begin to fly across the keypad. She continues to text as she talks.
So, if we're going to go back and kill him in time to authenticate canon, I guess we have to get going soon. Like today?
Yes.
Are you sure you're actually up to fight, though? No offense, but you're looking a little worse for wear.
I'm not going.
Oh, okay.
None of us are. Only you.
What? But you said...
John, this is the victory state.
What the hell does that even mean?
When we went through the door and passed beyond the threshold of canon, we effectively retired from bearing any responsibility for influencing canon events. We've all been sort of decommissioned as active players on the cosmic stage, with severely diminished...
You're cutting out a bit there. Octo?
Hold on, sorry. Like, quality just got really bad. What?
Yeah.
Octo? You kinda died for a second there.
What
Yeah.
did you get last year?
I don't even remember.
I don't think we heard anything. Just
Did you-
start the line.
Okay.
What line did you just say?
They said, what the hell does that even mean? And then I said...
Yeah, then we would... Yeah, you cut out pretty much right after you started saying the line.
Okay.
Yeah.
When we went through the door and passed beyond the threshold of canon, we effectively retired from bearing any responsibility for influencing canon events. We've all been sort of decommissioned as active players on the cosmic stage, with severely diminished relevance attributes. All of us except for you, of course, since you've retained your retcon abilities.
Okay, I get that. Kind of. But couldn't you all just come along anyway?
We could, but it wouldn't serve any purpose. It wouldn't plug up the remaining dark spots in canon. You'll need a group of active players, those still stuck inside the stream of canonic karma.
Oh?
Nothing too extravagant, just different versions of us. Younger versions from a particularly dysfunctional impasse in our journey. I can point out the exact moment in canon you should be disrupting, and how you should disrupt it. In fact, I've already written it down to spare you the trouble of remembering.
Rose leads you back inside and retrieves a letter from her desk. She hands it over, still typing one-handed on her phone. She sits down and you read the letter.
Huh.
Is anything confusing about my instructions?
No, I remember all this. It shouldn't be a problem. It's just weird to think about revisiting this. It seems like an eternity. Like, we were all completely different people back then.
I assure you we are all still fundamentally the same bunch of losers.
Rose is ultimately right about that, the way she is about most things. You continue to scan the letter and grimace slightly.
Should I really punch her in the face? I felt kind of bad about it last time I did that to someone.
Yes, you should absolutely punch her in the face.
Should and must.
You absolutely should
Very
and
important.
must punch her in the face.
You exhale and turn the paper over in your hands. The other side is blank. Flip it back over, having fully processed the instructions drafted in polished purple handwriting. I like how Rose still writes in purple after all these years. Some things never change.
Alright. This seems straightforward enough. I mean, aside from the part where we all have to fight an invincible monster.
He isn't entirely invincible. He will be vulnerable to Dave's weapon. I believe other gambits should present themselves as well. I don't think it would serve the mission well for me to tell you exactly how it will go,
but at least I can offer this bit of encouragement. If you follow my instructions, English will be defeated. It is an absolutely essential outcome, and essential, if you'll remember, is the word we should be using instead of good.
I see you're advising me to go after him when he's young. I guess that makes sense. Go get him before he gets all big and strong. Like, kind of like a surprise attack?
Sure.
Ugh, that dude. He was talking to me a while back.
Sucks isn't even a curse. Come on. No, you cannot do this. You cannot do this. Absolutely not. I'm not standing for it.
You're gonna kill her.
This is not elementary school, god damn it.
I'm just sitting here casually, like, spacing out, and then I hear, sex isn't a curse!
I said sucks, not sex.
Oh yeah, sex is not a curse.
Oh my god.
And yet sucks is?
Yeah.
Because the sexual meaning behind it?
No, wait, no, Hadron, you're contradicting yourself. You've said it before in previous streams.
I did?
Yes!
Oh fuck, he's gotta get
That dude
rebaptized.
sucks.
Now I could technically contradict you and be like, in the past you've said the word ass.
I have not. I know that. Like, I think he wants me to come fight him. Anyways, I just adored him, obviously. Because I'm not a stupid idiot. I guess today will be his lucky day.
You take a seat next to Rose on the couch. Examine your friend. Her eyes are closed and her hands are folded in her lap. She's not asleep, but she looks wasted. Like all the life in her has been sucked out through a straw. Like she's insubstantial. When you were kids, you always thought that Rose Lalonde had all the answers, that she could fix any problem with a wall of text and a witty rejoinder. I guess that much about her hasn't changed. She's still trying to solve the problems you all left behind. You can't believe how sick she looks. How did this happen to her?
I should probably get going and let you rest. We can talk all about it when I get back. I'll fill you in on how it went. Hopefully you'll be feeling better by then.
Oh, yeah.
Is something wrong?
Rose opens her eyes and looks at you, but she says nothing, just looks.
I'm not scared, if that's what you're worried about. You already said we're going to defeat him, so nothing to fear over, right?
Yes, you...
Something flickers through her eyes, almost too quick to catch. When she smiles at you, it's warm and sincere.
You're going to do great.
Rose slides her arms around you. After a while, she releases you from the embrace and gets up to fetch her bottle of pills. She pauses at the bedroom door to look at you one more time.
Goodbye, John.
She closes the door behind her. Look at the letter. You run your thumbs across the edge of the paper. Is this really it? One hug from Rose and you're off to face your destiny? The instructions in the letter are clear, but you aren't sure what precisely to do next. Inertia and indecision keep your feet planted firmly on the carpet. Then, as if directly answering your quandary, your phone buzzes in your pocket. It's a text from Roxy. Read text. Sounds important. You get up to go without even thinking about it. You exit the sliding glass door and leave it open behind you. 3. It's a beautiful day in the Carapace Kingdom, just like it was in the Human Kingdom, and just like it was in Salamander Village. Whatever faults this paradise you created might have, you sure don't hear many complaints about the weather. You're sitting with Roxy and Calliope on a giant chessboard-patterned tablecloth. You could say checkerboard, it's the same thing. Whatever. It's a nice touch,
If
you
you want
think.
to read Roxy, I can do the narration.
I want to do Calliope.
Okay.
And so you can do Roxy. I'll take
Alright.
Calliope. It's a nice touch, you think, but if you spent any time shopping in the Carapace Kingdom, you'll know most things you can buy are chess-themed. Friendly carapacians go about their day around you, passing through the park with their eyes politely averted as they pretend not to notice that 3 celebrities are having lunch in the grass nearby. It's extra polite of them because you and Roxy are having a very personal conversation.
She looked alright, mostly just tired. At least she seemed to have enough energy to babble at length about philosophical gibberish and things about canon and stuff.
Oh wow, guess you fill you in on all the ultimate self junk.
Oh my god, she's not drunk.
No, it's just how she talks.
I mean, I guess it sounds like you took her
She still
words.
types like she's drunk.
I mean, she doesn't make as many typos though.
Yeah.
But she still purposefully makes typos.
Wait, I haven't seen that at all, actually.
Wait a minute.
Although,
Do you make typos when you're drunk? I make typos. Am I drunk?
I make typos all the fucking time.
Yeah.
I just like that she, like, I don't know, I would think if she drank for most of her life, that it's kind of just how she talks now.
I guess that makes sense. Okay. Okay.
Like, there's no reason for her to speak any different, even if she wasn't, like, drunk.
Alright.
It makes sense.
Yeah. Maybe. But what?
The shit where she starts knowing everything and feeling bad.
No. That's not the term she used. She just kept describing it as a condition. You haven't been feeling anything like that, right?
What, getting to know my ultimate self?
Yeah.
Man, I've barely got a hold of my basic ass self.
Yeah. She said she was the only one going through this, that she knew of. Poor Rose. At least all that medication seems to be keeping her sort of functional.
Roxy gives you a serious sidelong glance. Remember that whole totally unprovoked spiel Rose gave you about substance abuse?
She said it wasn't like that. I mean, she said it was under control. Well, what the hell do I know? The only illicit substance that I've ever done is lick that stupid trickster lollipop. Never again.
You know,
Never.
well, can't say as much of my business anymore. Rose and I aren't as close as we used to be.
You nod, sort of knowingly, because you're thinking about how you hadn't talked to Rose in ages either. Roxy gives you a quizzical look, but you turn away before she can draw any meaning from it.
Mariam's been keeping her real busy since they got hitched. They both vanished down the brooding caverns, and it's pretty much that. Only since she got sick and spent more time at home did we start talking more again. It's been great, but our conversations have been a little bit upsetting.
And here it comes, the thing you were trying to avoid thinking about the moment Roxy texted you, about how you haven't talked to Roxy in ages either. You're having such a nice time ignoring that fact, too. Change the subject.
So, are you and Callie still living at the same place I last saw? The one near the tower?
You look towards the bell tower in the distance. The Gothic building so tall that it cuts a shadow through the midday sun. It's an important landmark in the kingdom, the tallest structure for miles around, and the only way you can ever manage to navigate your way here flying. Carapace architecture is otherwise identical, a reflection of their functional collectivist society.
Yup.
That's cool. It's a nice place.
Yeah, I like it here. I've thought about it, but I'll probably never want to live in a different kingdom. Still feel most at home around these chess guys.
Makes sense. That's how I feel about the salamanders. Which, I realize, makes no sense. They lead simple lives. I don't really care for the chaos or human or troll cities.
Neither do we.
You watch Roxy smile and reach for Calliope's hand. Look away before you start dwelling on it. You start dwelling on it immediately, looking probably more conspicuous with how quickly you whipped your gaze away. But seriously, what is up with their relationship? Is it romantic? Platonic? Can cherubs even have a romantic relationship? Are they even interested in it, like on a fundamental level? Do their brains and hearts even work that way? Questions like this used to keep you awake at night. You look at them, at where Roxy's fingers are entwined with Calliope's green claws. Calliope is still wearing the Ring of Life, the same one you obtained in a ludicrous adventure through the afterlife, and then re-obtained in a ludicrous adventure through canon when it was stolen from you. It's the same one that allowed Calliope to stop being dead in the first place, and to come live with all your friends on your beautifully renovated home planet. And it's the same one you gave Roxy all those years ago, to fulfill a promise made to a very special new friend. At the time, this gesture felt so important. It felt more meaningful than any gift you'd ever given. Like there was some grand emotional gravitas about it. It signified something deeper than what it turned out to be. You have since concluded that you were just imagining things, ascribing symbolic meaning to gestures that they simply didn't carry, like the dumb kid you were. Tactfully avoid saying anything at all about Roxy and Calliope's weird, ambiguous relationship. But you can't stop thinking about it. What goes on in Roxy's head? What she thinks about you. You and all your friends have dispositions affected by your classes and aspects. You think you know what that means in your case, but what about her? You can only speculate. What is a place where things sink and disappear, where they linger forever but cease to exist? You aren't actually sure if your feelings for Roxy ever really faded, or if they just grew numb with time and distance. Is it the same for her? Search your soul for the answer, but come up empty. The truth is, you suspect her mental interior is unfathomable. In fact, you feel sure of it. You wonder suddenly, watching her, this version of her, that is, the one with whom you share all these bittersweet memories. Will you ever see her again? Ahem! John!
What?
Please forgive me if I come across as impatient, but if we are finished with the pleasantries, I believe you have a choice to make.
Huh?
The choice as to whether you will go to defeat my brother or stay here. Have you decided yet? Calliope is smiling brightly, but sorry.
There's a choice.
Calliope is smiling brightly, but Roxy's face has no expression at all.
I was just assuming I had to go, because if I don't, then a lot of stuff will stop being real, or stop being canon. To tell you the truth, I'm a little confused about what will happen if I don't go. But it sounds like it will probably be bad.
That may be so. We are not here to caution you about the consequences of your decision either way, but there is always a choice. Roxy and I merely wish to invite you here for a nice human picnic, and show our support for whichever decision you make.
Oh. To be honest, it's a relief to finally be doing this.
It is?
Mm-hmm.
How much have you actually talked about this? I mean, how many people knew this was going to be a thing?
Just listen, Rose. Well, there are two, I think. She's been talking to me about it a bunch. And him too, but I don't know how much. He's got, thoughts about all this shit. But whatever, that's not important. Whatever, that's not important. Or even remotely surprising. Bottom line, Rose has been tormenting herself without having to tell you. I'm just glad she finally said it so she can rest. Now it's up to you.
Yes, take all the time you need. Again, we are here to influence you. It's very important that the decision come from your desire to go through with it, one way or another. Any tampering could taint the results.
Taint wait, what?
So what'll it be, John? I'm kidding. So what'll it be, John?
The chill runs through you and stays here. Consider the gravitas of this choice. You try, but you can't, because you weren't really prepared for it. You didn't think it was a choice at all until this very second. You think back to the way Rose looked at you before she went to bed. What if she told Roxy that she didn't tell you? The chill tightens around your throat and turns into fear. No, not fear. This feeling is worse than that. It's regret. You wasted your time here on this idyllic restoration of Earth. Why'd you spend so much time alone? Moping around the house, mourning your dead father, who probably would have wanted you to get more enjoyment out of your teen years. as well as your unusually early retirement, there's so much you could have done. You could have even reached out to Roxy again. Maybe she was waiting for you to do that. Maybe your withdrawal hurt her. Maybe she was heartbroken, just like you kind of feel right now. You study her perfectly stoic face and conclude nothing from it. Her expression reminds you of how Dave used to look when you first met for real, before years of living with Carcat softened him up. Impenetrable cool. It's too late to figure any of this out now. You fucked it up already. Unless, of course, you choose to stay? Upon further examination, you realize that Roxy's stoicism isn't cold. There's concern there. She's displaying restraint, keeping quiet while you make up your mind. Sweating, you realize. Cold sweat. Even worse than the anime nightmare sweat you woke up soaked in this morning.
You know what's interesting is if they hadn't said that he had a choice, he just would have went.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
just
really,
how
they
John is.
affected it. They affected it anyway.
Yep.
Even though they were like, "Oh, we don't want to taint the this or that." Well, if you hadn't said anything in the first place,
So it's Calliope's fault that candy exists.
yeah,
Calliope did this.
she gave him the option, whereas he didn't think there even was one before.
I see. Calliope did this.
Calliope did this.
You know, I like Calliope, but she did this.
I liked her before she made candy.
Hashtag cancel
Calliope.
hashtag cancel Callio.
Calliope is over party.
John, you okay?
Mm.
You looked like you were gonna pass out there for a second.
Suddenly, Calliope bolts upright. Of course, what was I thinking? This decision is far too important to be made on an empty stomach.
And she gives them the names. She was like, "Here, choose between candy or meat." She's the one who called it what it is.
She fetches the picnic basket, which naturally has been sitting there in the tablecloth since the moment you arrived. Here, before you choose which path you're going to take, you should decide what you'd like to eat. I have packed a wide variety of provisions, easily enough to satisfy even the most ravenous picnic-goer's appetite. Behold, an array of savory delights for the carnally inclined. Or perhaps something for your sweet tooth, if a lust for treats is what stokes your desire. Callia produces 2 dishes from the basket and begins gingerly unwrapping them. Where the fuck is my mouse?
This part's so fucking funny though, because like he starts to worry about like too much candy being this or that, and it's like actually what ends up happening. Like
Yeah.
they end up having too much of a thing, and
Let's
shit
not
like
talk about stuff that happens later in Candy because this is going to be uploaded as part 0.
that. Okay, right. All right,
And then
all right.
meat
I
will
Pay
actually-
attention to these metaphors.
Yes. Pay attention to. Don't pay. Yeah. Yes.
Right. Callie produces 2 dishes from the basket and begins gingerly unwrapping them. The unwrapping is so ginger, in fact, that there's something almost dramatic about it. Like the opening theme to that boring sci-fi movie with the monolith and the bone-throwing monkeys should be playing as she peels away the cheesecloth. On one plate is a pile of meat, rare, almost bleeding cuts from animals you can't identify. The other plate holds a generous heap of colorful, exotic-looking candy. You scoot to the side and peek into the basket to see if there's anything else inside. There's a book in there, but no more food. This is all there is.
Eat the cheesecloth.
Contemplate your lunch. Sorry, hang on a second. Yeah. Alright, this should be good. Alright. Contemplate your lunch. You put a finger to your lips and focus on the food with great intensity. You stop fretting about choices and heartbreak and eternity and Lord English. Your entire world narrows to a single point of light as you are utterly consumed by the overbearing decision about which of these absurd meals to have for lunch. Meat or candy? Meat or candy? The two possibilities pinball around your skull. Meat or candy? It's a tough choice. On any other day, you might be inclined to simply follow the whims of your cravings. But no clear victor surges to the forefront of your mind. Either option offers a tempting means of sustenance. You know, the meat will be rich and filling, and if you're being honest with yourself, you haven't had the most robust diet as of late. You didn't even have breakfast. Probably a good idea to eat something resembling a real meal for once. But you're no stranger to Calliope's tastes. As far as carnivorous comestibles are concerned, you know, every cut on that plate is rare to the core. It'll fill your mouth to bursting with juice, lie heavy on your stomach for hours to come as your body works to break down all the nutritious protein and fat. It might be tough to chew. It might be even tougher to swallow. Maybe the candy is the better choice for a picnic like this. Something that'll go down easy and fill you with bright energy as you pass the time with your friends. You know, you need to just let go sometimes. Stop worrying so much about what other people expect of you. Or what even you expect of you. It's not a bad thing to enjoy yourself just for the sake of pleasure. But eat too much and all that sweetness could make you sick. Roxy and Calliope glance at each other in confusion as you deliberate over what to eat. You suppose it's taken you a while to choose, but each dish is appealing enough in certain ways. Each has its potential dietary drawbacks. You don't want to make a decision you can't stomach. Meat or candy, John? Meat or candy? Release your breath when you realize you've been holding it. You're being ridiculous. What's the sense of fussing over lunch? In the end, it doesn't really matter. Whatever you choose, it'll all be flushed down the toilet tomorrow. Just go with your gut. Don't sweat the small stuff. There are more important things out there to fuck yourself up over. Choose.
Eat the cheesecloth. Eat the grass in the ground.
I wish we could. Also, are those are those white pixels that they left in there? Did they not artifact this correctly, or is that just my extension?
Hold on.
They never noticed.
It's not on mine.
It is.
They never noticed it because they published it on a white background. Oh, that sucks. And there's also a lone red pixel right there in the middle that bothers me. Anyway, we don't actually have a choice because we've already started candy, and the whole point of this is to do meat. But I'm just gonna, spam the record button real quick.
Man, the freaking
because if you're reading this, or if you're watching this as a video on YouTube, then the next video is gonna be candy in the playlist if you're watching through the playlist.